Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Unspoken Truth. I'm the founder of Mutual Respect and the host, Daniel. And today I'm joined once again by Sue Price, the founder of the Men's Rights Agency and one of the very few people in this country who has never backed away from the hard truths. After decades of relentless commitment, raising men's issues that others were too afraid, too uncomfortable, or blatantly too compromised to touch, there can be no doubt, in my opinion, that Sue Price is the First Lady of men's rights in Australia. Not because of titles, not because of applause, but because when fathers were silenced, children ignored, and men written off as collateral damage, Sue stood her ground, calm, principled, and unmovable. Sue, thank you for your courage, your endurance, and your decades of commitment in reinstating mutual respect for men in Australia, and for returning to Unspoken Truth to keep fighting for fairness, truth, and the future of all Australian men, fathers, boys, and families.
Thank you, Daniel. That was a lovely introduction. Well, more than I deserve.
No, not at all. You don't appreciate too much flattery. Any positive comments you try to shrug off, but everything I said you've earned, young lady, so thank you very much for all you've done.
Personally, I look back on the last, 32 years, and I think, why couldn't we achieve more? That's my heartache.
Yeah.
Because we were moving in the right direction up until 2006 when Howard introduced in the shared parental responsibility. It didn't go far enough, but it was a start. And that's where we are today. And the women are getting more and more funding. I believe the last figure that I heard was something like $8.4 billion last year was given to them, or earlier this year, so that they could promote their idea of, we'll stop domestic violence, we'll get it halted, all the rest of it. And of course they won't, because they're ignoring half the people who are victims, which is the men and the children as well.
Yeah,
so,
well said. There's a discrepancy there that they're all well aware of. I brought this up a little while before Christmas. I've outlined a few emails and things that I've tried to accomplish through political channels, but they know that men are taking their own life at epidemic levels at 47 a week, and they simply don't care. There is no funding, there's no support, there's no exposure, there's no even acknowledgement. They just keep talking us down.
The only thing they seem to be saying to men is, you need to go to anger management. You've obviously got an anger management problem. It's all your fault. Go and fix yourself. They never, ever talk about a woman having a bad temper or a mean streak or anything like that. And they're the ones that do, especially in this coercive control issue. Yes,
100% agree. And how derogatory is it to tell men that we need a behavioural change program so we can fit into society?
Well, it's dreadful. It's absolutely shocking. You're demeaning them right from the beginning. And unfortunately, this has now spread to our children. And this is what they're teaching the boys in schools. You must apologise for the behaviour of all those men out there who are beating up women, who are abusing women. And they shouldn't be subjected to that. No. What's that doing to their sense of masculinity? What does it mean to them being a boy, growing up into a man nowadays? It just means everybody's looking at them as if they're going to turn out to be the monster from hell. Yep. And they put that on a front page newspaper of the West Australian News or West Australian paper, and they sort of, how do we help this child not become a monster, or some words to that effect. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. There was a young boy that they put on the front page accusing him of being a potential monster. Yeah. You can't do that with children. You can't. It's totally wrong. Absolutely.
Well, it's open and blatant discrimination against a man. Any man or young boy now that aspires to be a strong alpha male, he's looked at like he's a toxic, masculine-driven boy. And they literally, I think in the UK, we discussed this the other day, I think they're bringing out anti-misogynistic camps for young boys. So there is a war on men. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Oh, it's been a continuing war for the last 30, 40 years, and it's just increasing in intensity, which is really sad. And that's where I feel really sorry that we haven't been able to stand up and make a difference. We should. There should be every man in Australia, every organisation in Australia should be standing up, contacting our politicians, contacting everyone we can to say, stop it.
Well, and like you, it was actually you that said to me way back when we first met, quite a while ago, that the biggest problem we're going to have, because I said to you then that I wanted to, my aspirations were to link and network all the men's and fathers groups. And you
Yeah.
suggested to me at the time that, you're going to have issues with that because there's a lot of egos. And you're 100% right. And the problem we've got is that all these little organizations out there aren't, for one reason or another, and I'm not having a dig at any individual place, I'm just stating that if we all manage to get along and agree to disagree and network and become this big bonfire, would be politically hard to ignore. But when we're all these little spot fires, they don't care. They don't give a shit about which little organisation's doing what. So in a recent interview I'd done with David Maywald, he even brought it up that we need to start getting everybody in the same spot, fighting for the same thing.
Oh, he's quite right.
I forget and we jump forward. I did want to mention these statistics because I think this is a major thing that people need to understand. In 2021 and 2022, in Victoria alone, there was 8,438 applications were heard before the magistrate for family violence orders. Now, just 1 year later, that number went to 22,916. So I am 100% sure, in my personal opinion, that they damn well know false allegations are used regularly, but because it makes so much money for everybody involved, they don't give a shit.
It boosts their figures. It boosts their funding from the government if they can show more women are claiming to be a victim of domestic violence. But that's an outrageous figure. You can't have that increase in 1 year. Yeah. And the trouble is, when you have an increase that size, how the heck are the police coping with it? Yeah. How the heck are the courts coping with it? No wonder these people can't get their cases heard. It's just self-defeating. Yeah. The whole thing. Yep. And they really do need to look at it clearly and concisely and accept the amount of research that's done across the world and in Australia that shows that domestic violence is virtually an equal opportunity offence.
Agree. And I mean, I've got another stat here that says, and this is another way they manipulate statistics too. So this graph comes from a study that was done in the family court between 2012 and 2019 in the Australian Journal of Social Issues. And essentially, when you cut out all the bullshit and all the manipulation, only 12% of allegations in the family court were found to be true. But the way that they broke them up was very interesting. So 20% were deliberately false, 25% were other false, and 43% were mistaken false. Now, how do you mistakenly make a false allegation, Sue?
That's a bit like that other figure I gave you beforehand, where they're saying that women, misunderstand the information that's given to them. So presumably that's the mistakenly false.
Yeah.
But all that, everybody tells them, go and get a domestic violence order. This is how you do it. Look here's these brochures. Read them. That will give you all the phrasing, everything you need.
Yep.
And it's very easy that the police are instructed to believe the women. And there's a lot of pressure on the police. I believe the police are thoroughly sick of what's going on. They can't do their job properly. They're chasing around with family violence issues, whereas they should be out catching, murderers, thieves, and all the rest of it. Yep. They can't do it. Yeah. They don't have time.
Oh, I agree. And the other aspect too is that once you've had a false allegation on you, you can't own a firearm. You're somebody of, your credibility shot. You're a violent person, and I've attempted this myself, and they disarm you when you've done nothing wrong, even if they're false allegations. They don't care. So, and then you've got the other financial incentives that are offered to women. These false allegations are at a massive epidemic level that politically they know, legally they know, but they don't want to acknowledge it because, like we've spoken about, there seems to be this underwriting feminism narrative that we have to believe that all men are violent perpetrators and all women are these vulnerable victims.
Yeah.
Personally, I've said this to you before, but I'm very grateful for the network you've opened up to me, the support, the conversations we have, the knowledge you share, and I've got no doubt that you've saved hundreds of men's lives, Sue. And that's why I do. I know you don't like it, but you're going to have to learn to live with it. You are the first lady of men's rights in Australia, and there's a lot of men out there that see it the same way I do. So I can't thank you enough for what you do, and I look forward to making some waves.
Very welcome. I just want to make some waves before I'm really finished.
Yep.
We need to
we're
do
not
that.
done yet.
We need to push harder. We need to find ways to either fund what we're doing so that we can take actions in court. That's essential at the moment. We need to be able to challenge the legitimacy of the domestic violence laws. I believe they're unconstitutional. So do other people. If we could just get that across the board, that would be a heck of a step forward. Because then they would have to start thinking about, okay, we go back to the criminal offence instead of trying to couch it as a civil offence. But we'll put a criminal penalty on you.
Yep.
But that's what they've done. So
which is what should be done. If you mandated sentencing for false allegations, they would all but cease within 6 months.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. So there's a lot we can do. We need to talk to everyone and other people and try to get them on board and try to get their input. Yeah. Because it's urgent.
It really is. And it's unification, isn't it? That's what we need. That's the message we want people to understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's for the sake of our children. Our parents left us a damn sight better world than we're going to be leaving for our children.